President Akufo-Addo has directed the Ministry of Education to reverse its decision to dismiss 8 female students of the Chiana Senior High School. The students in a viral video were seen hurling insults at the president. According to the Ministry of Education, the president says an alternative punishment should be considered other than dismissal. This was contained in a statement from the Education Ministry, and which reads, extracts on your screens. The president intervenes in disciplinary action taken against 8 students of Chiana Senior High School. It says the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has intervened in the above subject after his attention was drawn to it. Consequently, the Minister of Education, Dr. Educhum, has directed the Chiana Education Service to consider an alternative disciplinary action instead of dismissal, and is signed Kweku Kwaten, his spokesperson of the Ministry of Education. Well, the ministry says it fully supports the decision by the GES to dismiss the students. They believe that the students breached the code of conduct and the decision to dismiss them was deterrent enough. Speaking to JoyNews on the AM show a while ago, spokesperson for the ministry, Kweku Kwaten, said GES will put out a statement on the way forward following the intervention by the president.
Gentleman of the land in the language that they use. So, of course, within that context, it may not necessarily be written, but of course, in terms of the presumptive assumptions that you may place on, or interpretations that you may place on some rules, you may, it may fall there that, well, if you commit this offense, such as it's a clear case of misconduct, this penalty may be prescribed to you. If you look at the process that led to arriving this sanction, initially, the students were called together with their parents. A disciplinary committee was set up. You people who may have the background in law, in terms of the principles of natural justice, was strictly adhered to because they were heard.
Students were heard.
They were heard. After that, a decision was arrived. And then it was escalated to the governing board, or the governing body of the school, which, of course, if you look at the governing body, for instance, you may be talking about the PTA themselves, which is the parents, teachers, their representation, the RSRC, of course, some leadership, especially within the jurisdiction or within the community, also serve on the board. So they also okayed the decision of the disciplinary committee. Then it was escalated to the district education level for their opinion. They also agreed with it, regional level, national level. At the national level, that is when the GES Council, which is the highest decision-making body, or the apex body of the Ghana Education Service, also sat on it and approved the sanctions that was meted out to them. But of course, this morning, the president had to intervene. And for him, he believed that ultimately, even though he believes that when somebody commits an offense or commits a wrong or such misconduct, the person ought to be punished, he more or less aligns himself with the supreme interest at the end of the day, which happens to be the children's education. And so he feels that there have to be some level of mitigation. We need to reconsider the decision. And so consequently, the Minister for Education, Dr. Aisha Ibrahim, has also directed that the Ghana Education Service, which made this decision, needs to review the decision that was made. So our expectation is that by close of the Ghana Education Service will review the decision and communicate same to the students affected, or the students involved, let me put it in that context, and then also communicate same to the public.
So these students are going to suffer some form of punishments, because in that concluding part of the statement which you sign, it says, consequently, the Minister of Education, Dr. Aisha Ibrahim, has directed the Ghana Education Service to consider an alternative disciplinary action instead of dismissal. As you were speaking, I was trying to recollect some of the rules when I was in high school, which warranted dismissal. And there were very few of them because, the school is a space where you understand these are young people. So it's more towards reforming them, the punishment. So, for example, if you bought a mobile phone and it was seen, it will be seized and you would never have it again. If you broke bounds, you'll be suspended. I can't think about even two things that warranted dismissal. Is there anything that comes on the top of your mind? Any conduct that is stated clearly that this will warrant a dismissal? Because I just want to weigh it against the conduct of these students and see if that decision was not too harsh.
Venice, I am not sure, even today, on this very same station, if we are asked to replay the comments and the insults of these, young girls, even this station will be proud of playing.
No, not at all.
So I am not sure in terms of this comparison and analysis that we are doing, we should be able to compare, any misconduct in terms of the gravity of it to this one that we have witnessed. It's never happened in the history of any institution before, where you have students enjoying education, let me put it, obviously free, have that guts to come and attack the integrity, the personality of the president. You see, for us as a ministry, of course, we've moved from that stage. Currently, the decision now is that the president has intervened. But we believe that it was a fine opportunity to draw the sectional lines and send a very bold statement to our young girls and boys in school that, yes, we love you, we are giving you free education, we are catering for you, but look, we will not countenance on any act of indiscipline. Because
So you heard that Kweku Kwating, his spokesperson for the Ministry of Education. So you heard that Kweku Kwating, his spokesperson for the Ministry of Education. So when will these children return to school, and how can the reformation be done so they do not repeat their misconduct and turn out actually as responsible citizens? What about the friends who are watching in the community as a whole? What impact could this development have on them? Well, joining me via Zoom is psychologist with the Psychiatric Association of Ghana, Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry, for more. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruth Opoku-Entry. First, I want us to go into the minds of these students. What could they be going through as we speak with this dismissal? Right, so Dr. Entry will join us again. I hear the line dropped. She'll be joining us again. Right, Dr. Entry, I was finding out from you. I want you to take us through the minds of these students. What could they be going through right now with this dismissal? Hello, Dr. Entry.
Hi, good morning. I don't know if you can.
Dr. Entry, your voice is a bit far. So Dr. Entry will fix her line and join us back. But as you may have followed, 8 students of the Chiana Senior High School in the north have been dismissed following a video that went viral. These girls using vulgar language insults on the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So as we speak, the president has asked that the GS reverses the dismissal decision and gives them the appropriate punishment. Yes, I've been joined again by Dr. Entry. She's a psychiatrist. Dr. Entry, can you hear me now? Hello, Dr. Entry.
Yes, good morning.
Great.
I can hear you clearly.
Great,
can you
great,
hear me?
Great, I can hear you loud and clear. So first, I want you to take us through the minds of these students with this dismissal. What could be going on in their minds as we speak?
These are students who are understand how to interrogate messages. For want of a better word, they are reported to have disrespected the president. And then thereafter, they have been disciplined by way of a dismissal from school. I am sure that by now they are very disrupted. They probably have regretted their actions. And I totally agree with the presidency saying that alternative disciplinary action should be taken. Well, if children or young people go wrong, we need to discipline them. That there is no two ways about it. We must register our displeasure at their actions and let them know what they do. But disciplinary actions should not deprive them of a good and a bright future. When we carry out disciplinary actions, the eventual aim is to make these people better than they were before. And so any disciplinary action that would end the person up in a worse state is not the right thing, it's not appropriate. And so if we decide to take these kids out of school, what probably is going on in their head by now is that they have regretted their actions, but it has caused them irreversible consequences, which is not right. It is further going to cause some psychological breakdown. These children would have lost an otherwise bright future through their education. So by all means, they should be told what they did was wrong. The right way is to sit them down and let them understand.
So Dr. Ruth Owusu-Antwi is a psychologist. She's been explaining why it's a good directive coming from the president that they should be given alternative punishment. She says that even though we condemn what the children did, the students did, and something that we do not want to encourage in our schools, we definitely do not also want to curtail their education. Dr. Antwi, if you're back, you were making the point that is the right decision that the president has taken. Hello, Doc. All right, so Dr. Owusu-Antwi is having some challenges with the line, but Dr. Owusu-Antwi, can you hear me? Hello, Doc, can you hear me?
Yes, Aisha, I can hear you.
Right.
Yes,
so
please.
You were making the point that it's the right decision that the president took, that the students be given alternative punishments instead of the dismissal.
Yes, I was saying that I totally agree with that. I'm happy the president didn't say that scrap off the punishment entirely, but rather give them alternative disciplinary action, and I totally agree with that. What I was trying to say earlier was that every form of disciplinary action should have an intention of making the person a better person after the disciplinary action. And so if you met out any punishment, any sort of disciplinary action, and the end result is that the person will end up worse off, then you know that you have not chosen the appropriate one. These are young children or young people who would have missed a bright future because they have been dismissed. But if we sit them down, first of all, let them understand what they did wrong. In fact, for every young person, before you discipline them, you must find they took the wrong action. You let them know where and why they have gone wrong.
Dr. Owusu-Antwi is a psychologist. She made the point right there that the president stepped in at the right time, and she says that the students must come back to the classroom because they cannot be deprived of education, but they must be given alternative punishment, just as other people have called for, and that they also deserve to be educated and they deserve to be counseled so that we don't see a recurrence. Now, starting this month, public sector workers will be paid 30% more on their base pay for the 2023 working year. This is coming after 10 separate meetings spanning nearly 2 months. However, government urged the labor to increase their productivity to plug the hole in the country's budget. Michael Ashali has more.
2022, the labor unions wrote to government requesting for 140% increase in their base pay for 2023. The unions cited mainly the increased cost of living as justification for their demand. After 2 meetings, Labour was willing to bend.
Government progressed to 18. We also progressed to 65.
We've never been difficult. We've been considerate for years, and many things have gone wrong. So I think that is the time to right the wrongs. The single pay salary structure is the most indecent structure in this very country. You will never take anything below the 60%. We are not representing ourselves. We are representing our constituents. And we have to go back and inform our members who sent us to negotiate for them.
For government, it was a frustrating process.
Unfortunately, we have had to table something anytime we have met. But Labour insists on a figure. So we are going back and we'll reconvene.
Tensions were brewing, with none willing to yield to the demands of the other. Both parties broke into caucuses several times to deliberate further. But after 10 meetings in 2 months, a deal was finally reached. Here is Labour Minister Ignatius Baffour-Iwar.
The base pay has been increased by 30% for the 2023 financial year. The effective date of this is 1st January 2023. And as I said, this brings to an end the 2022 COLA of 15% of base pay salary.
But Ignatius Baffour-Iwar urged the workforce to increase their productivity.
What we also require of workers is also to increase their productivity and also work to justify this reward which is also coming to them. We are going to work together to ensure that our output at the workplace also increases. And we are charging Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to lead that course of monitoring what we do at the workplace and also coming out with measures to help us to be able to increase our productivity.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says agreeing to increase the base pay will take a toll on the finances of the country.
This is going to take a toll on the budget, but I'm confident that with enhanced productivity and the commitments that we both have given to each other to make sure that there is peace in this country as we look at pensions issues, labor issues, I think we've come to a satisfying conclusion. And I really would like to thank all of you for your commitment to that. Fiscal implications, of course, we'll have to work with that, but really the issue of a peaceful environment for us to work is something that we treasure, and we really applaud you for that going forward.
Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress TUC, Dr. Yao Ban, spoke on behalf of the labor unions.
This has been a very, very difficult negotiation. And we are happy that it has ended today. It's important that we speak the same language. And I'm sure the 30%, even though it is not what ideally we want, will create that opportunity for us to speak one language and work together to make sure our country recovers to where we were before the COVID hit us.
Both parties agreed that the 15% cost of living allowance should be discontinued. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
I've been joined by Professor William Pepra from the Andrews University in Michigan. He joins us via Zoom. I'm grateful for your time, sir.
Hello?
Yes, Prof.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prof. So we know that already there's pressure on the public purse. Now, we also know the government did not budget for this in the 2023 budget. How big of a problem will this be for government?
Good morning, and for calling me, and good morning to your listeners. So, if we follow the normal process, this negotiation should have happened somewhere in March 2022, but then we delayed, and as at November, when government was presenting the budget, it was not concluded. I know that government would have anticipated a certain percentage and put it in the budget. So at the time, government was proposing about 18%. So my guess would be that was what was factored into the budget. So there will be a difference of about, say, 26 or 28% that has been added on. The implication will be that government may be cutting some expenditure line items to make way for this, or government will be relying on central bank in the form of monetarization or giving overdraft to government to be able to pay these bills. Or the third option will be that government will be increasing the treasury bill requirement to be able to meet the salary payments. And then the fourth option will also be that government will be cutting down some capital expenditure line items. So government may have an option. If government decide not to implement a cost-cutting measure, what it means that it will throw the budget out of gear. And by the end of 2023, we'll be seeing that the wage bill will be going up. Let me also put it that because government has increased the income tax bracket to include a 35%, not all employees who will be getting exactly a 30% increase in their salary. We should be mindful of that.
Okay.
What it means is that a lot of workers will be moving into the higher tax brackets, to the 17.5, 25%, and 35% tax bracket. What it means simply means that the moment the base pay is going up, your tax payments will also be going up. The advantage is that the social security part is also going to go up. So in terms of future retirement, employees will get something better. All these have implications for government. Government probably, as I've mentioned, need a major strategy to accommodate this 30% increment. And if you realize last year, total emolument was about 44 billion Ghana cedis. So if you do a cap of a 30%, it's really going to go up about 54 something billion cedis going to come in. And if you look at government projected revenue for only for 2023, about 200 and something, that's we are getting about a quarter of that one going into wages, which is very, very, very significant. So the implication to government is very serious.
Now, government is asking the teachers to actually be productive. We know that analysts have said that productivity usually at the public sector does not match how much they've been paid over the period. How does government make use of this opportunity to ensure productivity?
I mean, the way the salary negotiation was done, it was not tied to productivity. So all employees will get a 30% increase in their base pay. The instrument is with government. They must make sure that workers are working. They are the policy makers. The kind of policy you put in place will determine my output. So just telling or the employment minister saying that show to us increase in productivity, there should be, because you are the employer, you should lay down all the necessary tools that will make the worker to be able to produce. One factor is compensation or emolument. There are other factors that requires the employer to be very productive. The tools needed to work, are they available? The condition of work, the environmental condition of work to the worker, is it put in a position that the worker feels happy to stay there and work. And then once the employer is able to assure all these things, it will really help. An important factor is that if the employer is also seen to be listening to the employee, sometimes it creates the opportunity to come out with productivity. So it's not only the employer showing that I'm working. I can come to the office, but if my employer does not give me my job description, if there are duplications of jobs, which we currently know, like, the ministries of education, there are other agencies or government offices open up. So if I work at the Ministry of Education and I'm in charge of senior high school, but there is a secretariat also set somewhere, I'll go to the office and I'll not be productive. Someone is doing my job. So as mentioned, the government will have to put in the structures, the needed working tools, not only salary, to push for productivity. Yep. A lot of factors come into play to make sure that the employer becomes productive.
So aside cutting down on certain aspects of the budget to be able to make up for this 30%, are there avenues for government to actually generate revenue to fill in this gap?
I mean, in the general revenue discussion, Ghana, we have some resources. Probably the government is really focusing on taxes, but there are other resources that we can ensure that we bring them on stream to make sure that we generate revenue. The bauxite discussion is still pending, which could have helped the country if it had worked well to bring in the 3 billion, but the way it was done with the Chinese was a barter trade. And even that one, it has not materialized. And government go back and renegotiate on the bauxite transaction. I think if you remember, we were also going to use our royalties for some kind of transaction in the past. Can it be looked at from a different angle, like factoring and not to sell our royalties for a very long period? These are other options that government may have to look out for. In times of difficulty, we may have to think outside the box. Once we are able to get the taxes to come in, the natural resources God has given to us, can we turn some of them into revenue generation? And for me, that is where we must be looking at, because Ghana is endowed with a lot of them to bring in the needed revenue. And it will help the country to get foreign direct investment. I mean, it's challenging times, right? But with the needed and the right approach by government, having a strong negotiation with the international communities, I'm sure we'll be able to turn things around.
Professor Prepar, I'm grateful for your time. He's an associate professor with the Andrews University in Michigan, U.S. Now, the Ghana Boundary Commission says the National Boundary Commission of Côte d'Ivoire is ready to share intelligence to help in the fight against the activities of illegal mining, which is polluting River Tano. Authorities in Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire have raised concerns about the heavy pollution which is affecting the river, which serves as a boundary between the two countries. Speaking to the media after the Lands and Natural Resources Minister paid a working visit to the offices of the Ghana Boundary Commission, National Coordinator Major General Emmanuel Kotier said the authorities of both countries will map out strategies in subsequent meetings.
It didn't come about it. It's being handled between the Ghana Boundary Commission and the National Boundary Commission of Côte d'Ivoire. What the National Boundary Commission of Côte d'Ivoire offered us is that they are ready to give us intelligence to assess in the illegal mining efforts along the River Bier and Tano areas, because it's also affecting them. So in subsequent meetings, strategies will be discussed and various actors within Ghana and within Côte d'Ivoire will be brought in to map up a strategy in which we can assist. There is a need for collaboration between the two countries because these river bodies serve as boundaries between the two countries. So there's a need. You cannot go and carry on an activity without the consent or the cooperation or the collaboration with the other country.
I think there was a meeting, there was a conference at the Labadi Beach Hotel,
I think sometime in December or November here. I want to find out what the conclusion was, any agreement.
Yeah, with the Ivorians?
Yes.
Yeah, we discussed quite a number of things. There are quite a number of initiatives that we're going to carry on with the Ivorians this year, and those were conclusive during the meeting. First, we are going to do a reaffirmation of our land boundaries, starting from April. In the end of April, we are both going to meet in dollar power because there are issues of dollar power. So we've agreed that we're going to have spent 3 days in dollar power to do an assessment of dollar power and see how best we can prevent some of the issues that come up in dollar power in various dimensions. And then one of the issues has to do with the ITLOS agreement. And then we also agreed on cross-border cooperation. We've agreed that the pride communities along our boundaries, we should be able to find resources to rehabilitate schools, clinics, and what have you, so that we'll be able to prevent any problems that can come out of some of these issues, problems that we have in those communities.
He says a new draft bill, if successfully passed, will expand the functions of the Ghana Boundary Commission to include resolving internal and electoral boundary issues.
Confrontedly is that our jurisdiction or our mandate doesn't extend to internal boundaries. But then, with the draft bill that we have that is going to be submitted to Parliament very soon, it's currently with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Once that bill goes through Cabinet and is passed by Parliament, the additional rule for the Ghana Boundary Commission is going to be resolving internal boundary disputes, including electoral boundary dispute that will be brought up for us to resolve. So that is going to be an expansion. And in doing that, there may be the need for us to open satellite offices in some of the regions in Ghana to complement the efforts of the national office.
You heard the General Kotia. Less than 2% of the constituents of Nyonyo Naswan have acquired a form of tertiary education. This is largely due to high rates of illiteracy in the constituency. Member of Parliament for the area, Oscar Lewal, who made the observation at a town hall meeting, wants the phenomenon checked because, according to him, it is hindering the livelihood opportunities as well as the development of human capital and infrastructure in the area. Elias Otanko has more.
This town hall meeting was put together by a youth group of the New Patriotic Party to offer a means for the executives and appointees of the party and government, including the Member of Parliament, to engage the constituents and account for their stewardship on development matters in the constituency. The meeting was held at Jimbale, the hometown of the Member of Parliament, and attended by scores of constituents from far and near communities. Also in attendance were the regional and constituency officials of the party. Addressing the constituents, the Member of Parliament expressed worry about the high illiteracy rate, a situation he indicates continues to limit employment opportunities for the people and hinders human and infrastructure development in the area.
After writing senior high once and not being able to make it, you just give up, run to the southern sector seeking for greener pastures. Others go into early marriage. I want to urge you to take education so seriously to secure your future. There are instances where I will get opportunities for certain categories of jobs, but I will not get anybody with such qualification in the entire constituency.
The Member of Parliament urged the youth in the constituency to take their education seriously, while expressing his readiness to continue to offer full support for brilliant but needy students as part of his contribution to improving the human resource base.
We in MPP cherish education so much, hence the reason for the introduction of free senior high to afford every youth of this country the opportunity to attain senior high education. When you have very good resource and want to further your education and faced with financial challenges, this is where I as your MP, will come in to support you.
The MP also played up his achievement in the sector of roads, health, rural electrification and human development, among others. He spoke impressively of his stewardship as a member of parliament of the constituency and revealed that efforts were underway to get the constituency share of the national cake and thus called for the continued support of the constituency.
Some of the key infrastructure projects we have secured so far are the Agenda 11 hospital, which is currently under construction at UU, a newly established senior high at UU, and a girls' model school at Nassau. So education and health sectors are receiving serious attention. The road sector is the area left to be tackled, and we are pursuing it vigorously, which will soon receive substantial attention.
The district chief executive for the area, Conlan Bitian, on his part pleaded with the party faithful to help in the maintenance of peace and stability in the area.
You as the party faithfuls, wherever you are located in the distance, wherever you are located in this constituency, I call on everybody to stand on your feet, to assist me succeed very well in terms of peace. If there is peace, I think we are 80% successful.
Elias Sutanko reporting from Jimbale for Joy News.
Let's take a break on Joy News. Next, when we return, we have business.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. Former Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Chemating, has revealed a $13 million strategic investment fund from the World Bank for the development of the Greater Kumasi Industrial City and Economic Zone project. It is in anticipation of a $150 million facility from the South Korean government for extension of the off-site industrial facilities. Mr. Chemating, who introduced leadership of the World Bank to the Asante Hene in Kumasi, says the park, when completed, will be a game changer in the country's industrialization drive. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
The Greater Kumasi Industrial Park is envisaged to be the prime manufacturing hub of the country. It sits on a 5,000-acre land at Ejoso in the Ashanti region. The facility will host different industrial parks within the city for the manufacturing of different products. Former Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Chemating, explains the enclave will create job opportunities for the youth and improve the national economy.
And we know from the experience of the most advanced economies in the world that it's about creating industries. So we feel that when this project is fully executed, that it will contribute significantly to our job creation agenda in our country. So Your Royal Majesty, respectfully, we bring this to your attention, and hopefully that you take this as a personal challenge and drive this particular initiative.
With the initial investment made, the project is expected to attract private sector participation. It is believed the Africa Continental Free Trade Area will offer opportunities for participants to reach foreign markets.
Now the world is opening up. With the African Continental Free Trade Area, there are investors both within the country and outside the country who are seeing the opportunity that is offered by the AFCFTA to establish industrial enterprises in Ghana. We want this new industrial city and special economic zone to be the prime investment destination and the manufacturing hub for our country. And the plan is to have different industrial parks within the industrial city. So there's going to be an agro-industrial park which would concentrate on manufacturing of foods and beverages. There's going to be a garment village. There's going to be a pharmaceutical park and a biomedical center. There's going to be a new technology and innovation center trying to replicate what we have in the Silicon Valley. We're also going to have a mineral processing zone, an enclave. We have so much minerals that are mined in the Ashanti region.
Meanwhile, the World Bank has assured preparedness to help develop the country with focus on digitalization. Pierre Laporte is country director of the World Bank. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Now, business strategist David Ofusudote is warning that confidence in the finance and banking sector could be hit badly in the coming months. That's if the domestic debt exchange program is not handled well by government. Mr. Dote's fears are based on the current structure of the program and concerns being expressed by individual bondholders. He has been speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
I know very close friends and relatives who have essentially, based on collective investment scheme, mark to market alone, they've lost about 20% plus what was their principal as at the time this happened. And it's affected them drastically, right? So I think the individual component is the most painful one. But if I take that one aside and put that there, I think the lack of confidence in the financial sector is a very dangerous way that we are going. And it's not new. I've gone back on this in a previous presentation like this. Under the PNDC regime, if you had more than 50 CDs or something like that, you had a problem. People lost confidence in the financial sector, keeping monies at home, their mattresses, etc. Then, finally, after some 20 years or so, people get confidence. And then I make reference to the 2014, I think 2014, February, it was Valentine's Day, where we had some circular from Bank of Ghana where you basically could not hold dollar anymore, and a lot of people lost money. I lost money. We lost confidence. Then, just when we were about to regain it, the financial sector, a lot of Capital Bank, UT Bank, they all vanished, and if we lose confidence again, then you have the banking financial institution, then the likes of NAM1 and all. It's been going on. Then just when we think the confidence is being restored, we have debt exchange. I have seen people who have bought safes and trying to keep money away from banks. So if we have a situation where people go after the banks, run on the banks, or another bank collapses, or people refuse to now send money to banks and stop saving, or save with other non-cash instruments like buy property, or send their money abroad by buying dollars, we will have killed confidence in the financial sector, and it will take a very long time to recover. Yeah. For a country which wants to improve savings culture.
And that's all for business right now. There's more coming up after the break. To stay tuned to News Desk.
Welcome back to JoyNews Desk. Tech Talk is up next. Spike Nkrumah has joined me via Zoom. Hello, Spikey. How are you doing? Hi, Spikey.
Hi.
So what's up? What's going on in the world of technology?
As usual, there's a lot going on. Primarily, first off, every year new phones come out. And people who are looking to upgrade phones from, let's say, the old iPhone or old Samsung, they have new phones to look out for. And one of the new phones that's coming out this year, early, is the Samsung Galaxy S23. And that's coming out next month. But it has been leaked already. People already know what it's going to look like because there's been leaks out there about what the next Samsung Galaxy S23 is going to look like, and the colors, the form factor. So it's got people already and ready for it. But we don't know what specifications are coming out yet. We know what it will look like. We know what the camera units are going to look like. We don't know what is going to be powering it. We can suspect and we can project, but we don't know exactly what's in it. So maybe that may leak before it comes out, but until then, we're still waiting.
So some of us who are Samsung fans, we should be looking out for the 23. Maybe, will it be anything closer to the Ultra 22 or something like that?
Yes, so you would have the S23, the S23 Plus, and the S23 Ultra, which are all going to be upgrades from last year's models.
Okay.
So you're looking at definitely better cameras, better processors, better design, I should say, looking at what we're looking at now versus last year's model. Last year's model had a bit of a notch on the camera bump, like there was a camera bump behind it, but this year it looks like it's going to be flush with the body, so there's not going to be a bump anymore.
Okay, the Ultra 22 has good cameras and definitely takes very beautiful pictures. So yes, if 23 means better cameras, that means better poses for those of us picture freaks who like to take pictures all the time. So yes, I'll be looking out for it, definitely.
Sure.
And Samsung has never disappointed, you know.
I'm sure the Apple fan boys and girls are looking at you like, look at this.
Of course, I'm both. I do iPhone, I do Samsung. I love them both. Can you imagine the two rivals? They are my friends.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Anyway, so we'll be looking out for the Samsung Galaxy S23, which the images actually look good. We would look forward to feeling it in our hands. I know it comes with a lot of money, good money too. We'll start saving for that. But let's look at the other technologies. That
are you on TikTok?
TikTok, no, I'm not.
Okay, well then you are safe because apparently experts are worried that TikTok could add to the mental health crisis.
Oh my goodness.
US teens. Yes.
Wow.
And it's not limited to just the US teens. Apparently it's a global pandemic, quote unquote, because the young ones are spending more time on TikTok and getting influenced by it and the kind of content they see on there.
Oh my
so
goodness.
There's some research that has gone on that has proven that some young ones have been exposed to certain content that either cause them to suffer depression. Some of them have body, like they're not comfortable with their bodies, and some of them have a certain beauty standards that they think because they've been seeing certain videos on TikTok, on social media, and they begin to think that, oh, this is how I'm supposed to look like.
Okay.
So you have some of these young ones now aspiring to get
mental
BBLs.
illusion. They are imagining themselves,
Yes.
as to what they are
maybe,
not.
And most of it is also the body shaming. Like some of them are seeing these models with big bums and thinking that's the standard. Maybe I should go and get a Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah.
And some are also thinking of losing extreme weight and are not eating, or they are taking certain drugs to lose weight very fast because they think being thin is the new beauty standard. And some are
Certainly, something must be done about this because I mean, the craze is crazy. If people want to believe in what is on TikTok and actually live it, then there's a problem. There's a big one.
Yeah,
right.
There is a big problem. So those are the challenges on TikTok right now.
Right. So I know there are two other technologies you want to share with us, but unfortunately time is far gone. We would have to do it another time. Thank you so much, Spikey, for sharing Tech Talk with us. And that'll be it for the bulletin this morning. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. You can log on to myjoyonline.com. You'll get more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.